move on to our next news. Iran will hold nuclear talks with Britain, France and Germany in Istanbul this Friday. The meeting will be at the Deputy Foreign Minister level. European powers warn Iran to resume talks or face UN sanctions. The move follows last month's attacks on Iranian nuclear sites by Israel and the US. Tehran insists its nuclear program is peaceful. Talks with the US remain stalled. Europe's deadline to trigger sanctions via the snapback mechanism looms in August. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Ambassador Suresh Goyal. Thank you, Ambassador, for staying with us. Now, while talks between Iran and the US remain stalled, Europe has managed to keep diplomatic channels open. What does this divergence in diplomatic approaches tell us about the role of Europe versus the US in navigating this Iranian nuclear issue?
You see, if you look at the Iranian nuclear issue, why is there such a lot of conflict about Iran nuclear program? The concern or the fears in the West that Iran is on the way to develop nuclear weapons reminds me of the kind of stories which are propagated about Saddam Hussein and Iraq, that he's building up a nuclear arsenal, biological weapons, etc., etc., etc. And after Saddam was removed, they couldn't find any thing about the nuclear weapons. Now, the point really here is Iran's enriching uranium up to 60 to 64%, which gets closer to the weapon-grade uranium, but still not there, leads other countries to believe that Iran could be on the way to develop a nuclear bomb. But also Iran having signed the NPT, Iran would be in a gross violation of the NPT provision if it were to actually make a nuclear bomb. And therefore, the two options for it, Iran is either remain close at the threshold, but not really build up a nuclear arsenal, or get out of the NPT. If there is further pressure, Iran has already indicated that they will leave NPT. But in a region where there is one country with the nuclear weapons and who has this huge rivalry or with, or animosity, I would say, with Iran, Iran finds that nuclear deterrence is essential for this security. I think the countries who want to see Iran back away from the nuclear option will need to look at also the security metrics in the region, so that the other countries can feel secure and not get concerned, or not really be persuaded to get onto the nuclear program. So the overall security situation in the region is a must in terms of a permanent or durable stability. I would consider these talks are good. Iran having agreed to enter into the conversations and negotiations is very encouraging. But to expect that without the USA getting on board in this conversation, that Iran will be persuaded to give up its nuclear option, I think is a bit of a far-fetched idea.
And what do you think will be, how do these actions influence the ongoing nuclear talks? What diplomatic measures should be taken to de-escalate the situation between these countries, EU and Iran?
As I said earlier, these countries will have to give clear guarantees or persuade Iran that giving up on the nuclear option is not going to compromise on its security. Till that happens, I think the conversations will remain inconclusive. But I'm also quite certain that Iran is not going to take the risk of developing a nuclear option with the kind of situation or the opposition it faces from Europe and the USA.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Suresh Goyal, for joining us and sharing your insight. As now we move on to